So OpenAI just launched the GPT-5.4 model, and it's one of the most capable professionals model yet because it combines advances in reasoning, coding, and agentic workflows into a single model which is designed for real-world professional tasks. It comes with built-in capabilities for computer use and also has a lot of improved agentic capabilities because it has much better support for tool usage and multi-step workflows. And it also has a lot stronger coding as well because it incorporates the strengths of the GPT-5.3 Codex and performs better on software engineering benchmarks such as the SWE Bench Pro. So you can look at some of these metrics over here in terms of the coding benchmarks. And then when it also comes to hallucinations, it fares much better than the rest of the other models in terms of reducing hallucinations, so up to 33% fewer false claims as compared to GPT 5.2. So if you look at all of the benchmarks, it performs far better when it comes to agentic workflows in terms of lesser hallucinations. And let's now take a look at the overall architecture of what GPT 5.4 looks like. So here is a brief architecture of how GPT 4.4 looks conceptually. So at the core, we have the reasoning layer. This layer interprets the user's objective, breaks it down into smaller subtasks, decides the execution order, and maintains the awareness of early steps over long workflows. So the main responsibility for this architecture is to understand the task's goal, generate an execution plan, track the intermediate state, and then decide when to continue reasoning versus when to call a tool. Then we also have a long context memory. So here attached to the reasoning layer is a large context window where GPT 5.4 is designed to operate over very long tasks. So it needs to preserve the user interactions, past reasoning capabilities, have proper tool outputs, intermediate artifacts. And then another interesting aspect of 5.4 is that it has a major architectural shift in terms of tool search. So instead of loading each and every possible tool definition into the prompt upfront, the model actually sees a lightweight index of tools. When it determines a tool is needed, it will retrieve the relevant definition dynamically. So this layer will help us to identify and search the available tool ecosystem and fetch the right tool schema and description and then execute it. And then we also have this tool execution orchestration layer. So once the model has selected the right tool, the execution layer runs the tool and returns back into the model's reasoning loop, and it's responsible for invoking the tools, handling the arguments, and most importantly, we also have native computer use capabilities. So it has this computer interaction layer, which allows us to do things like screenshots, browser pages, desktop UI elements, or keyboard and mouse actions. So this is important because a lot of the real world tasks do not happen through a RESTful API, but they happen rather through websites or enterprise dashboards or even forms. And finally, supporting the perception layer or the computer use, you have a visual understanding layer. So this gives GPT 5.4 the ability to interpret these screenshots and interface components, high resolution images. So ultimately everything is then connected with a feedback loop, and this is what makes this entire cycle of plan, then act, then observe, verify, and then continue. So this is the loop that makes the GPT 5.4 more agentic and more reliable for more professional focused workflows. So in order to demonstrate how GPT 5.4 functions, I'm going to be running it and building an application with this open source platform called as InsForge. You can think of it as a super-based alternative with the capability to have authentication, database, and the ability to also deploy edge functions. So here you'll be able to find all of them inside of the dashboard, but it's also an open source project with close to 2000 GitHub stars. We'll set it up in Codex by going ahead and copying this particular command. And as you can see that right now we have this completely empty. I'll go ahead and paste this particular command here, and this will help us to set up this particular application for Codex to use. So it will set up the MCP server for Codex to run. So here if I now run Codex, you can see here it's setting up the MCP servers for InsForge. And if I just quickly take a look at my MCP here, you can see that it is enabled, and I also have set up GPT 5.4. And now we'll ask Codex to actually go ahead and build us a Reddit-like application with using InsForge. So here we are using that as a backend platform, and we have a list of all of the different features that we want, including the ability to go ahead and deploy the link. So InsForge will also take care of handling the deployment of the application for you. So let's go ahead and start this and see whether it picks up the InsForge MCP server and starts to use the relevant tools that are provided within the InsForge MCP server and start building with it. So here you can see that it's using the appropriate InsForge tools, and now it will begin to create the entire application. Alright, so now we have gone ahead and deployed our live app, which you can see also has an InsForge domain. We'll just click on this and we will open it up in our browser. Let's go ahead and run it here. This particular Reddit-like UI where you can create a community, so we can just call it OpenAI discussion on OpenAI, and you can go ahead and create communities here. So we have 2 different communities. We can create a post within this community. So let's give it a title of launch of GPT 5.4 new launch. You can also give additional images if you want, and these images will be stored in InsForge, and we can go ahead and publish this. And then once it's published here, we'll have the list of all of these posts which can be voted or upvoted, and you can see here it's updating in real time. If you want, we can also add to this discussion as a thread, so we can say better than GPT 5.3, and here it'll get added as comment. We can see again, give it a reply. So again, you can see here that with this one single prompt, with the help of the MCP server with InsForge, we just got this one-shot application, and all of it is deployed on our product. So you can see here all of the different database schemas, and then storage will be for uploading the files, and then we have the specific functions if required. But you can see the authentication as well that's built in, and the overall dashboard where you can see the auth and the total amount of DB being used. So with GPT 5.4, we can see here that it's pretty straightforward. Just use the link that has been given and like the prompt. So what we've seen is that GPT 5.4 is a fairly capable model and supposed to be better than the GPT 5.3 Codex, which is itself a fairly nice model. And of course, we'll be doing a lot more benchmarks around testing it and using it for real world use cases apart from this coding, because with the agentic capabilities, you can use it as a much more better general purpose model as compared to the previous models like GPT 5.2 or the GPT 5.3 Codex, which is optimized for coding. But then with GPT 5.4, it does use the GPT 5.3 Codex capabilities, but also has a lot far better reasoning capabilities as well. So that's a quick tutorial on what is GPT 5.4 and how we used it with InsForge, which is an open source alternative to Serverbase, and again, one-shot application development with the help of Codex and GPT 5.4 with the help of InsForge. So thank you so much.